You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show. The preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. thechrisvossshow.com. Who the hell hired an opera singer to do my part that I do in the show? Oh, my gosh, we did. There you go. We're testing that out. If I can just learn not to talk over, we'll be good. But that's new today, folks. We, after 13 years of doing that bit, singing the Chris Voss Show, to where you come up to me and scream, the Chris Voss Show. I'm like, security. There now is an opera singer that we did it. So we have an amazing gentle lady on the show, and she is going to be sharing her amazing thoughts in business, sales, and speaking as well. How you can be a better speaker, how you can present yourself better. And she's probably just going to take me apart on the show and just be like, you do everything wrong, Chris. But I think that's the whole point of my show, isn't it? I don't know if it is. But in the meantime, we have to pay for that opera singer that we hired. Do you know how much it costs to hire an opera singer? It costs a lot. And we had to have it recorded in a giant hall. No, I'm just kidding. We did Fiverr. So for the this is the deal. Shame for the shirt family friends and everybody else, please go to goodread.com for youtube.com for Chris and Chris Voss one on TikTok. And I'm gonna have an opera singer do the plugs too, because I'm tired of reading them. She is an amazing author in mind, and she brings in a lot of time experience. Her latest book came out August 4th, 2022. Mr. Bear Speaks Without Fear. The easiest way to learn the hardest subject. Reesa Woolf, PhD, joins us on the show. And then we have me, who's, I'm good at fixing trailer homes. Reesa Woolf is a TED Talk trainer, keynote speaker, and author with more than 30 years of experience preparing CEOs and their teams to speak with confidence. She's an expert in demystifying and eliminating fear of public speaking. Her book is Mr. Bear Speaking Without Fear. It was mentioned before. And she's here to talk to us and tell us how to be better and present in how we speak and how we do stuff. Welcome to the show, Mrs. Wolf. How are you?
It is a pleasure to be here. I really admired your style, that's for sure.
There you go. Wait, there's a style? Hey, she says there, I got a style.
Casual confidence. You have casual confidence. I really like it. Very, very much.
Can I finally get paid for this crap now? There you go. I'm telling my bosses that I now have style. They tell me I have no style, but honestly, Reesa, if you've ever seen me in public, the way I dress in shorts and flip-flops and shirts that look like they, I've been wearing them for 10 years without washing them, you would find that I have no style. And evidently that's a consensus for most women that meet me in public. They usually people come up to me and they hand me money and they're like, get a meal, dude. Okay. I'm just shopping here, for hell's sakes. But I will buy some cheese. So give us the .coms. Where can people go on the interwebs?
Where you can find me is Confident Speaking, Confident with a T, confidentspeaking.com. That's what I find in teaching public speaking for over 30 years. I find people take a course because they have gotten through life kind of faking it, and they finally want to be confident public speakers.
There you go. That's what I've done all my life. I just fake it till I make it. I'm still working on making it. Maybe 20 or 30 years from now, we'll finally make it. So give us a overview of what's inside Mr. Bear Speaks Without Fear, your latest book.
Mm-hmm. I've researched public speaking fear for 25 years. And it happened at the same time that I was teaching public speaking skills. And I was teaching these 3-day long classes. I taught at the largest seminar company for Fortune 500 people. And people would say, oh my God, you kept my attention for 3 days. And I would say, well, that's what I'm teaching you to do. But I thought, I'm making all this money here, but I could make more if I were a keynote speaker. So I became a convention keynote speaker, and I was really good. But I realized, Chris, I have a skill above that, and that is I can make anyone in the room speak without public speaking fear. And that's what I do, and that's why I wrote a book so that anyone can learn it themselves.
There you go. And does the Mr. Bear part, is that a way of giving it a story so that people can kind of identify it? They feel less like it's an instruction manual?
People who are afraid of public speaking fear, I'm talking about adults. I mean, the people who usually come to see me now are like about 35 years old. They've been in their careers for a while, but they have been living in secret with public speaking fear for a long time. And so what I find is that when I say, well, have you taken any classes? Have you read any books? They never have, because it's just too scary. So I wrote it as a simple story. Mr. Bear has to give a talk. He's panicked. And when he talks to the different coworkers, they teach him all the skills. So it's a very easy way to learn a lot of information. But I purposely summarized every chapter in bullets because, frankly, I don't like to read and learn from books that are stories. I like bullets, so I combined the two. And then there are 45 tips on stopping public speaking fear. So it's pretty much my last project. This is my giveaway of my years of research, my years of working with over 3,000 people. And this is something that I'm very proud of because it's a proven thing.
There you go.
If someone reads this, they will learn how to speak in public.
And if they don't, or else, I don't know what that means.
Well, a lot of people are very unhappy all the time. You know what's amazing for people like you and me, who can speak easily, we know that people have public speaking fear. But since I work so intimately with these folks, these are people who, it's not only that they're afraid to get up and speak. At every meeting, they're afraid they're going to be called on and have to speak spontaneously. They're afraid. They don't like to network because it's public speaking. So it's much more, it really intrudes on a person's life. And when they read this book, people like us read this book, people like you read it, and they read each page and go, yeah, this is good. Oh, I've learned a few things. People who are afraid of public speaking, when they read Mr. Bear Speaks Without Fear, every page they go, oh my God, oh my God, I never knew that. So it's really quite a revelation. And I wrote it because I know exactly intimately the people who are afraid of public speaking, adults who are afraid of public speaking.
There you go. And so when we're talking about public speaking, I mean, this just doesn't go into, being on a stage or for a keynote, as you mentioned, if you're in a meeting, whether you're a leader, trying to communicate to your employees, whether you're someone who's even like a parent, or you're trying to instruct your child, how you deliver, how you speak to people makes all the difference, whether you're a podcaster. There's something else that I'm trying to claw to and I can't find it, but it passed through my brain very quickly and now it's gone. So there you go. People in the audience like, oh no, what is it? There's the suspense I built for you, people. You can tune in the rest of the show and see if it comes back around to me. That old brain, the dementia's kicking in. Basically, that's what it is. So whatever you do, this effective. I know what I was trying to say. So if you're talking to a partner, if you're dating, if you're trying to relate to someone you have a relationship with, being able to communicate effectively from all these different bounds affects you. And being able to speak well and speak effectively can make all the difference. You know how I overcame the fear of public speaking?
Tell me.
Do you know how I did? I just don't give a shit.
You started this show. No,
I just don't give a shit anymore. I quit caring. I just don't give a shit anymore.
Well,
I just quit caring.
Actually, can I give you a hint that that's actually one of the reasons that people are fearful, is that they really care what people think. And instead, this is my first tip that I want to give your listeners and your audience, that have the attitude of, I'm only here to help them. I might not be I might not make the most money. I don't have the fanciest title, but at this moment in time, I have value to give those people. And if you keep that in mind, instead of what do they think about me? Oh my gosh, I don't speak as well as the last speaker. They don't care about that. They just want your content. They just want your stuff.
There you
So
go.
I want to give you a lot of tips as we speak, because that's the value of this chat.
So, what is the core of why people fear public speaking? What are some of their fears, and why is that such a big deal for them?
I would say that there are a few top reasons that people are fearful. One is that the antidote is to think to yourself, I'm only here to help them, instead of thinking about yourself and how is this coming across. The second thing is they don't know what to do when people start losing interest.
Mm,
And so what you want to do is stop and say, I really want this to be valuable. And then, prepare ahead some questions to check in with people. Is this what
mhm.
you were looking for? Is this too basic? Is this something that I need to give more of a background on? So really check in. And I think the third thing is that many people who are afraid of speaking know what they're going to say at a meeting, either in person or virtually, and then they just show up, but without notes, without preparation, without anticipating what might I be asked, and let me plan ahead what I'm going to say. So a lot of confidence comes from maybe 5 minutes before a meeting, putting together your ideas. And it's very important. I teach how to use user-friendly notes, because if you write out your talk, it's like saying to yourself, I think I'll make sure I lose my place when I'm there. So
There
I
you
would
go.
say stop giving impromptu talks and go in with notes. That's a big antidote.
It's good to have notes as a backup, that's for sure, to fall back on. But there are times where sometimes you have to change direction during a speech because,
Oh,
sometimes the
yes.
audience is like, I've had people yell out, questions during a speech, and I've been like, wait, so you want me to talk about that over there? Sure, I'll. If so everybody in the room want to, okay, let's do that. Um,
Ex- Exactly.
some
Perfect.
they're like,
Perfect.
we know what you're talking about. We just know we need to know how to apply it. That sort of thing.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
you had the United Nations director call your book the best public speaking book ever. That's quite the endorsement.
Thank you.
There you go. Well, I didn't, it wasn't me. You wrote the book. I
Yeah,
just,
yes, I worked in the United Nations. I several different locations, but the longest location I stayed was 3 months in Rome.
oh, wow.
Twist my arm. Someone had to do it.
Yeah, that sounds rough. All that Italian food and all that stuff. Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds
it was
really
terrible.
rough. All
I
that
did get
pizza and
fat.
stuff.
Mhm.
There you go. So, is it a thick book? Is it a voluminous book? Is it going to take me a lot if I'm out there and I'm thinking I'm afraid of public speaking? Do I have to spend a lot of time with this?
Mhm. Actually, that's the whole point. When I realized that people who are afraid of public speaking fear, they just want to get it fixed fast. That's why I wrote it in a story form with the bulleted summaries. But look how
Mhm.
small it is. It's not even the size of a regular book. It's purposely, everything about it is to make it look like a children's book. So when you pick it up, it's not threatening like a lot of those books are. Speak without fear. All those books are scary.
Yeah,
This is kind of
yeah.
friendly. And frankly, it could be read in an hour.
Oh, really? Yeah. So it's not like War and Peace, huh? It's like
Yeah, it's like 100. It's 100 pages. Every page is packed, though. I can tell you that every page is packed.
there you go. Now you coach on your
Mhm,
website. From what I understand, you do speaking training individually, and I guess coaching. You would say
mhm,
you help people
mhm,
with their TED Talk trainers. There's a lot of people doing TED Talks now. Tell us about some of the
mhm.
work you do there.
Have you have you ever noticed when you watch a TED Talk how they hold your attention the whole 18 minutes?
Hmm.
Oh, I'm a TED Talk trainer. I'm the one who teaches them to do that, and I put some of those techniques actually in Mr. Bear Speaks Without Fear. So I do that, and that is really fun. That's even more. I think it's more work for someone to do even than a keynote speech at a convention, because it's more like a Broadway performance. But
Hmm.
most of the people that I work with who find me on the web are people who are about, let's just say, 35 to 40 years old. They have gotten to high enough positions that they have to give a speech that's more scary than the rest. It's to a bigger group, or it's to more important people, or they've just
Hmm.
taken a new job, or and actually, sometimes I get people who say, I've even turned down jobs because it had public speaking. And now this job,
Wow.
love this company. I've been here 8 years and now I got to speak. So that's why they're really, It's been their secret.
Mhm.
If you asked your friends, are you afraid of public speaking? They would reluctantly say yes, because
Oh,
they can speak 1-to-1 or 1-to-5. But as soon as it's a larger group, they just won't do it.
there you go.
So those are the people who find me. It's usually business owners, I would say medium-sized business owners and corporate types that are either C-suite or close to C-suite, and a fair amount of managers, but mostly I would say that's my demographic. Lots of technical people, engineers, lots and lots and lots of salespeople. You'd be shocked, because that's your specialty. That
Mhm.
Many salespeople are afraid to get up to do the big presentations at the conventions.
There you go. The other way I got over the fear of speaking is extreme narcissism and not giving a shit.
I guess that's
So
I guess that's a
mix that
root.
with some dark triad, and you got a perfect formula cocktail of ugliness. But no, I mean, I love entertaining people. I love making people laugh. It's when people laugh, it's like crack to my brain. I have one of those
Oh,
comedic
yeah.
brains.
But Chris, don't people say to you, "Oh my God, I could never do what you do"? Don't people
Uh,
say that to you? I could
That's because
never
I
get.
suck at it, though. That's because I suck at whatever they're telling. I can never do what you do because you're an idiot. And I'm just like, I don't know, what's your point? So there you go. So you work with people. There's a lot of people doing these TED Talks now. There seems to be every week, so
Mhm.
one of my friends is like, I'm doing a TED Talk. And so a lot of people are getting good at this, and evidently it's become a really good way to do these TED Talks for raising your brand, getting more
Oh,
speaking gigs and stuff like that.
oh yes, no question. I would say that's one of the big reasons people do it. Either they have an idea that they want to share,
Hmm.
or they have themselves and their company or their idea that they can be traced to, so people can purchase their stuff. And a lot of people do it simply so they can put it on their website, because it's a lot of credibility to do a TED talk.
Hmm. And it makes all the difference in the world when you can speak, when you can, I think I think a lot of people, this comes a lot up on the show with authors and stuff talking about this, but imposter syndrome. And I
Oh.
think a lot of people have a challenge with that, don't they? When they speak, is like, yeah, maybe I'm full of shit. I don't know.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Do you want me to make some comments on that?
Yes, if you would, please.
Ah, so
That's usually why
imposter
we ask
syndrome
questions
is
on the show,
because
Risa.
people.
I'm
Oh,
teasing you.
no, noted, noted.
I'm
Thank
teasing.
you.
I'm teasing you.
No, please. The imposter thing is that people still have a self-image of them like when they were 21 years old. So they come to me and say, when I was new in the business, I didn't know anything. And when I gave my talk, this guy just humiliated me in public, and I've just been fearful ever since. But
Wow.
now they're 35 and they've become kind of expert in their area, and they actually have something to say. So I say to them, well, let me ask you this. If you were in your current company and that same guy who did that to you walked in and did that to you, what would you do now? Oh, well, now I would. And they would say what they would do.
Hmm.
So they have to update who they are. Who you are now is a person that if, some jerk like that did that, you would handle them.
Yeah,
And
throw them out the
plus,
second story window.
that's it.
No,
That's
don't
it.
do that, folks. The
So
lawyer
it's
says I
really,
can't
yeah,
say that.
that's the fantasy of it. But the point is that people have to kind of update their self-image. And, over the years, everybody, grows and develops. And it's important to kind of take inventory of, wait a second, at this point in time, I have value for people. I don't know everything that everybody in this room knows, but I know my little piece of it. And that's why I earn my seat here. It's a nice, you have to do a lot of self-talk to overcome that mean mind that's tormenting you with the old stuff.
Yeah, mine's the 9 personalities that I have that talk meanly to me. There's someone that says kill, kill, kill all the time. So the judge says I can't listen to him anymore. And then I get my ankle bracelet off next week if I do. So this is really deep in what you go into. Stop your tormenting thoughts you cover. How to recover from speaking mistakes. I think some
Mhm.
people, they flub something up, or I've been known to jump over something in a speech and go, oh shit, now I'm all fucked up. Where was I? But this makes all the difference. If you can't speak and communicate to people, I think especially in the corporate world, it hurts your ability to rise through the corporate ladder,
Absolutely.
to get better jobs, to be seen as more value. I mean, certainly if you can be a speaker for your company, you've got more job security than anybody. I've got a couple of friends that they're kind of always the speakers for their companies they work at, and they get picked up by all sorts of different companies because the other
You
companies
bet.
see them speaking and they're like, hey, go hire that people.
You bet.
So there's all sorts of great things that come from it. And then just, I don't know, being more comfortable in your own skin where maybe you don't have imposter syndrome.
Hmm. Hmm.
There
Hmm.
you go. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Um,
that. Yes.
so in your on your website, how do people work with you? How do they onboard with you? How do they reach out to you and find out, if
Mm.
working with you is good? What sort of services you offer? I noticed in your training there's several different services you have on your website.
Hmm. Well, the first thing is that people usually find out about me because they've heard about Mr. Bear Speaks Without Fear.
Mhm.
But sometimes people just find me SEO, just searching public speaking fear. And the good news now is that I would say, even before Zoom, I was using Skype and doing one-to-one training because, see, pretty much 6 years into my career, ages ago, I started to do international training. I would meet someone maybe in the States, but then they would have me do, a program for their company online, and I'd be getting up at 4 a.m. to do it in different parts of the world. But the point is, right now, people find me, individuals, they often pay for their services themselves. They don't need the company to know that they're doing this.
Oh,
We meet on Zoom like this. I'm I'm no nonsense. Yes, you can see even now I really get to the point. And I would say an important thing to know about me, in one reason that I work so quickly, is that I studied with the man who invented cognitive therapy, Dr. Albert Ellis. And
oh
that's why I
wow.
work so fast. That's why I work so fast. And it's
Mhm.
really, when people, I say sometimes, so have you taken courses, or, have you worked with, oh yes, I'm seeing a therapist now. And all I can think of is, I think you might want to consider another therapist if you've been working with someone and you still have this fear, because pretty much in the first, I would say, first 4 sessions, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about cognitive therapy. It's not covered up like, here's how to cope with your fear. Oh, no, it's eliminated. It's really taking out the crazy thinking, fixing it,
Mhm.
pushing it back in, and then they have their whole life gets a lot more free. It's very, very, very satisfying work, because as I stay in touch with former clients, it transforms their life. If they think, if I can get over this, the biggest fear I've had for 40 years, what else am I overlooking? And it's very, very, very cool. You've done that, I'm sure. Haven't you gotten feedback from on your show that you've made a difference in
Yeah.
people's lives and careers?
Yeah, I mean, we've had feedback where sometimes people were going to make a decision to end their life during a day, and somehow we changed their
Whoa.
life by something positive. We said we've had that twice actually, which is really weird because we didn't. That wasn't our intention. We're just
Mhm.
doing positive communications and outreach and entertaining people, and to have that sort of impact where you're like, wow, I
Wow.
may have saved someone's life today. Is interesting, and this is one of the beauties of what you've communicated and talked about on the show is being able to public speak and be effective and inspire people, motivate people, entertain people. You never know what lives you touch and what differences you make. I mean,
Mhm.
most times you won't even hear about it. So, sometimes somebody will come up to me and tell me something. Hey, you did this thing 3 years ago, and that really made a difference in my life. And I'm like, wow,
Wow.
really? That's really cool. Um, but but yeah, my psychiatrist has me on a 20-year retainer program for most of my other issues other than public speaking. So I just want to make that clear to everybody. Get professional help. He's currently, it's either that or the frontal lobotomy, and that's still up for grabs. So people who listened to the podcast for 15 years ago, I thought he already had the frontal lobotomy. Anyway, so people can do a complimentary 15-minute first step call with you to get the
Mhm.
question answered, see if you guys are a fit. That's a good
Yeah.
option to have, right?
Yeah, they go to confident with a T, confident speaking.com and just do a contact us, fill it in, and 15 minutes, no obligation. A lot of times people just want to finally tell someone the truth.
There you go. And you deal with the executives of companies and different things. Do you find that they usually like that discreet sort of training? Like they don't want to announce like, hey, I'm learning to speak over here, Bob, they're in the office place?
Oh, no. They don't want anyone to know because these people have risen pretty high faking it. So they don't want anyone to know. I mean, part of who they are is this their image. Oh no, I'm the best kept secret for a lot of people. But you know what's great is I allow people to call me in between appointments. Anyone can have 5 minutes with me. So if they, oh my God, I've asked me to speak, write me a better opener. Anyone can have 5 minutes with me. So it's a real ongoing, intense experience, and people are healed. But it's our little secret. Fine
There
with
you go.
me. I don't care. It's very. Can you imagine how pleasing this field is for me? I studied this for 25 years. I'm giving 25 years of fear of public speaking research into each person. It's very, very exciting for me.
There you go. And it's important to read the book too, even if you have you've maybe public speaking before. I mean, the one thing about public speaking is you can always get better and better. So you can read the book even if you are, a novice or you feel you're an advanced speaker, because the more sort of tips and tricks you can come out with, and of course practice is so good. Being in the mindset of pre-programming stuff in your brain, I think helps as well. Being confident, being narcissist, where you don't give a shit about what anybody thinks, that helps too as well. What are things that we haven't talked about that we should tease out that are in the book?
One thing that's important to know is to recognize that when you make mistakes, you just fix them and keep talking. Most people, when they're in front of people, they fear making mistakes because, if I make a mistake, they'll think, and then fill in the blank of, I don't belong here. Why is she there? Why is he in front of us? All those other things. And then here's the deal about fear. Once fear raises, the brain stops. And that's why sometimes people go blank as they're speaking. Oh, it's horrific. It's horrific. It's horrific. It's a thing that when you wake up at 4:00 in the morning, the night before speaking, thinking, what if I make a mistake? So here's the antidote to mistakes. You know how everybody here who's listening, everyone in the audience, when you're saying to your friends, let's meet on Wednesday. Oh, no, I mean Thursday. When you make a mistake, you just fix it and keep talking. If you say, let's meet at 3:00. No, let's meet at 2:00. So when you make mistakes with friends, it's perfect that I should make a mistake then.
Yeah,
when you make a mistake with friends, you just fix it. And so the same thing in front of people. So I do suggest that you rehearse aloud anything that you're a little concerned about, even if it's just a section of your talk that you don't usually give. And as you rehearse aloud, you will make mistakes, because speaking, when you speak, you make mistakes. That as you make mistakes in your rehearsal, you fix them and keep speaking. In other words, get used to what's going to happen in real life, which is you will skip a bullet, you will trip over something, you will forget to how to say that word in English. So rehearse getting over those and just getting to your talk.
I just usually own it and roll through it and take I just did that early in the middle of the show. If you notice, when I couldn't remember one of the points I wanted to make, I just own it, and I just take people on a journey with me, and they actually follow, because they're like, wait, where's he going now? Wait, he's going someplace. What the hell? What the hell's going on now? He's off going someplace. Where is he going? And I don't know if it works, but people seem to not care or listen.
Oh, but you're right. It's just saying, I said rehearse this. Like rehearse saves. Oh, I said that wrong. Let me say it again. But I do it with a smile to show that I take the work seriously, but I don't take myself seriously. So even, that's another tip, is to prepare saves. When you see wonderful speakers and they mess up and then they say something cute and adorable and funny, and then they go back to their talk. Well, they use that cute and adorable and funny thing all the time.
hmm That's
So
my secret, the humor. I just fall back to a joke or comedy or a humor, or
there you
be
go.
self-deprecating.
Well, that actually is the answer. That is the answer
Yeah.
to the issue. When I make mistakes, what should I do? Oh, just you prepare ahead. You can joke about it. If you're giving a serious talk, then you say,
hmm
"Oh, just a moment. Let me say that better.
hmm
Just make it fit."
There you go. Or I just
Hmm.
ask people, boy, what I just said sounds stupid. No, I don't. I don't do that. No, I don't do
Jeez.
that. You can though if you want. You can do anything you want. I mean, that's the beauty of life. So the other thing you teach people, I thought this is really interesting. When you don't know
Mhm.
the answer, you will know what to do and say to maintain your authority and credibility. This is one of those important things that CEOs and a lot of leaders need to have. That sometimes when there's an
Mhm.
art form to when you don't know an answer right away, or maybe you're trying to figure out what question's coming at you, especially if you meet the media, and this can help with media as well if you're in the front PR sections of dealing with investors or media people,
Mhm.
um, and being able to analyze the question and think about it and not give that instant response that might end up in some PR kerfuffle, or you end up sounding like an idiot, or you don't sound like you know
Mhm.
exactly if you're up on the topic. And so
Mhm.
giving that time, repeating the question, and what to do can really help. What do you think
Mhm.
about that?
I would say that everyone who's listening should take that advice.
Yeah, there
That
you go.
is very good advice. Is that one, anticipate what questions might I get,
Hmm.
and then rehearse the answers aloud, because thinking is not rehearsing, and kind of mumbling through it in the car on the way there is not rehearsing. Rehearsing as if you're on the Zoom, as if you're on camera on virtual. Rehearse, standing up, or go to the conference room ahead of time and rehearse standing up. Get used to your ideas and what you'll say if you get the difficult questions. And your advice is the best, which is to say, I need to give that some thought. Let me
Hmm.
write back that down. I'll get back to you, and I'll email it to you. In fact, I'll broadcast it to everyone in the meeting.
There you go. Full disclosure, I
So
stole that off your
smart.
website.
So
So
smart.
yeah, there you go. Full disclosure, I stole that line off your website. When you don't know an answer, you will know what to do and maintain your authority and credibility. If you work with
Hmm.
Reesa here,
Yeah.
that's one of the bylines, promotions there. But it's true. I mean, you'll see CEOs that will make the most stupidest comments because they immediately try and answer a media question, and they
Yeah.
ended up they
Yeah.
end up just mucking it. When you're like, take a breath, repeat the question, and then like you can rephrase. Well, it's interesting you say that. And there's a lot of issues that surround this issue that you're talking about. In the
Hmm.
meantime, in the back of your brain going, I don't know what the fuck the answer is for this. So but I gotta come up with something soon, so I'll just keep stalling. Recently I saw the technically quote unquote COO. I mean, what wait, never mind. CEO of X, which is Twitter. I think it's called BK next week.
Hmm.
And I recently saw her on a tech show, and the person who was interviewing was very combative. It was almost like a cat fight. I don't know if you saw this, but she was getting peppered pretty hard, and she was getting hard questions too.
Hmm.
And she was being incredibly evasive because I don't know. That's all you can do when you're the pretend CEO of a company that Elon Musk runs, and you're really just the COO. And he's, of course, doing controversial shit that now you're on stage having to answer
Hmm.
questions about. And she was doing a really interesting job of evading, but stalling and also diversion. And a lot of people, she got a lot of crap for it, especially from
Hmm.
some of the really good tech journalists. But when I really watched what she was doing, I was watching how she was doing what we were talking about, where if you don't know an answer or you don't want to answer a question a certain way, how to still try and maintain authority and credibility and control. And it was a lot of work she was putting into it and roundabout, but just watching the art form of it and how she
Hmm.
delivered it, I
Hmm.
don't know it worked out better for her, but the answers that she didn't want to give probably
Hmm.
wouldn't have worked out better anyway. So,
Mm,
it's
mm,
kind of one of those things when the media's peppering you, or maybe you're getting questions from employees or investors. You're at that big investor annual thing. There's maybe some questions you don't want to deal with, or
mm,
you don't want to disclose certain things. Maybe you're a politician. Maybe you're a parent who doesn't want to explain to the kid, what certain things are that they found on their Google search. You got to have that political sort of spin answer.
mm.
So all these different things can really help do better when it comes to leadership, speaking, and communicating. That's my
I
point.
would say I completely agree. And if I can add to what you said, that the big thing is if you know that something's messed up and you're going to get a lot of questions about that, you have to think of what questions will I get and write down the answers you're going to, make an outline of the answers you're going to give. And most importantly, what are the worst questions I can get? What are the ones
Mm,
I hope I don't get? Those are the ones that you want to mostly prepare ahead of time. I used to do outplacement training, which is like when an IBM or Coca-Cola, when those companies laid off people years and years ago. I did this years ago. I would, when they would lay off their executives, they would put them in this training to decide what they were going to do next, write their resume, and just help them with job interviews, which was like the first public speaking that's done in a while where they're under the gun. And for those people, it was important that they really take a look at where are they heading, what do they want to do next, and for them, when they were doing job interviews, there were things that as I would prepare them for the interview, I would say, we would ask the typical questions. Then I would say, what are the questions that you hope or you fear that they're going to ask you? And they would list those. Well, I traded jobs. What 4 jobs in 4 years, or here are 3 years that I missed and I didn't have any jobs at all. And prepare ahead what you're going to say, because this is what most people do when they get a question that they don't want to handle. Their whole body language and everything changes. They've been answering with this kind of eye contact and body language. They get a difficult question and they go, "Oh, well, those were the 2 years that they get all apologetic," which brings attention to the
mhm.
one thing they don't want attention to. So it's imperative, really.
Yeah.
If you've done something wrong, if something's going on, there are going to be difficult questions. You need to spend hours rehearsing ahead of time live with planning what you're going to say, rehearsing the words, and also rehearsing the body language so that you appear the way you want to appear and it's not your default fear look.
You
Big
could you could really help the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis. I don't know if you've noticed, but he's got this thing, and somebody pointed out on TikTok, and now I can't unsee it. But he does a grit grimace when he's asked something he doesn't want to deal with, or he's not happy, or he just does it sometimes when he's like, I don't want to be here. And I don't know if you've noticed it yet, but that's an example of where your body language really gives it away.
Yeah.
And he does like this thing where my PR guy says I should smile, so I'm gonna smile, and I really don't feel like smiling. Like it's a real dead giveaway. And regardless of where you're on politics, let's skip that, boys and girls. Watching his body language sometimes, and once you see it, I'm serious. Like, go watch some of his speeches
Oh,
and
yeah.
interviews, or when he's on deck with the Republican debates going right now. He does this grimace thing, and he'll grit his teeth, like he'll clench his jaw and crap. And you're just like, what's going on, dude, in your head?
Hmm. Hmm.
But that's one of the things people don't think about. They're thinking about more what they're going to say as opposed to how they look in their body language.
Hmm.
And body
Hmm.
language is just so important, as we've had great people on the show teach us
Hmm.
that. But yeah, and sometimes I'll laugh it off. Like if somebody asks you a hard question, the best way to do is to break it down, just like a shit test. And you go, oh, yep, that was the question I was afraid someone was going to answer, and I've been worried about all day, and then just laugh. And people will laugh with you. They're like, yeah. But if you answer that question, with that, oh no, there it is. People
Brings
tune into
attention.
that. Yeah, it brings attention. The media are like, yeah, we got him. This is front page news right here. And being able to have that eloquence to, be able to answer questions and deal with
Hmm.
them make all the difference in the world.
And you made a really good point right now, and that is that there are really 3 parts of what makes a charismatic speaker, and that is The words, of course, have to be good, but what really counts a lot is the sound of the voice. When someone says, "Oh, yes, I can do that," that sounds different than "yes, I can do that." And I could do it 15 different ways. But if you really pay attention to what is the sound of my voice communicating as well, and then, of course, the body language. Yeah, those all make a big difference. And many people, I guess people who are afraid of public speaking, but I would say generally when I taught public speaking to these Fortune 500 people, these executives, that most everyone was concerned about the words. And it's really your demeanor and your way of being with people that gets your message from your head into side of their head.
There you go. With comedy, you learn to tune into people. So if somebody throws shit at you, you focus in on them and you talk to them directly and you try and have fun, or you try and make them laugh. In fact, one of the problems you have as a comedian is whoever's not laughing in the room is the person that you really start focusing on, because I want to make that dude laugh. But yeah, if you're responding with, "Well, I'm glad you asked me that question," you're folding your arms and putting up body language that make you like this again. Different body language. Like, I'm serious. If you go, everyone in the audience is gonna be like, "We're gonna go watch Ron DeSantis right now." But if you see the grimace thing, the lockjaw thing, and he actually does this with his teeth, you'll see him grind his teeth, and it's like, "Urgh," and you're just like, "Holy crap!"
I'm surprised someone hasn't let him know that he shouldn't play poker.
Yeah, and I didn't ever see it until TikTok. Somebody went, "Have you ever noticed what Ron DeSantis does?" And now, like, I can't see it because the whole time I ever see him on TV, I'm like, "See that grimace there?" And so yeah, someone should fix that for him. But it's a great example of body language and how to do things. So as we go out, Reesa, give us your final thoughts. Tell us how people can onboard with you, work with you, et cetera, et cetera.
I would say the first thing to do is to go to Amazon and get Mr. Bear Speaks Without Fear, because it really, if you get it tomorrow morning, by tomorrow night, you will have so little public speaking fear. Plus, you'll have written the next talk you have to give. As you learn how to write, just choose the subject of the talk you have to give in 6 weeks. And if someone wants to see me, just go to confidentspeaking.com and contact me, because it's really an opportunity to see, could I be helpful to you if you work one-to-one. I would say that if what I'm saying at all in this interview is resonating with you, it means a part of you wants to get rid of this fear. You don't have to use me. You don't have to read my book, but do something to help yourself, because this is a fixable problem. It does require reprogramming your brain, but isn't it worth it? Because you have a bunch of junk in your brain that's making you crazy. So the point is that if you have public speaking fear, or if you're a good speaker and you want to learn TED Talk tips, those are learnable. And I would say the takeaway is, when you see someone who speaks well and you admire one little thing they do, just imitate that for a week and it'll be yours.
There you go. There you go. Well, give us your .com, Reesa, so people can find you on the interwebs.
Okay. It is confidentspeaking.com, and you can contact me there. And you can ask, I'll answer a free question. Be my guest.
There you go. Thank you very much, Reesa, for coming on. It's been insightful and fun to have you.
Back at you.
There you go. And thanks to our audience for tuning in. We certainly appreciate you guys. As always, please go give us those 5-star reviews on iTunes. Help us pay for the operatic singer we hired for the intro plug. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, youtube.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, and Chris Voss, one of the TikTok. Tell all your friends. That's all we need. It's free. You just call somebody up and say, "Hey, go subscribe to the Chris Voss Show," or else. Anyway, guys, don't do that. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.